get you started and prepared to do a 4-step. How many of y'all have been to treatment before? Raise your hand, keep them up. Okay. How many of y'all have attempted a 4-step before? Okay. How many of y'all even know what the hell we talking about? Good. Y'all probably catch on then. How many of y'all have got one of these instinct sheets before? If you got one of these, okay, don't take one, okay? If you did not get one of these, take one. Pass them around now. Okay, look up here. Look up here. This is a 4-step sheet, okay? Some of y'all got them. If you didn't, take one, okay? I'm gonna pass them around. Start passing them around. Start passing them around. Damn, y'all must want some recovery. We couldn't have passed Oxycontin out that quick. Who is the community leader? Make sure everybody got one. Who didn't get one of these? Okay. All right, I want you to look up here. We got a lot of stuff to cover today, okay? I'm telling you, look, today ain't the day to be staring out that window or up in the sky, okay? I need your attention for the whole morning. And if you can't give me your attention for the whole morning, this ain't gonna work for you. Okay? Now we're gonna do some stuff real quick, okay? When did you get here? Okay. And your first name? Stephen? What you been using? Okay. You been in here with me? Okay. First name?
Mark.
Where you from, Mark?
From Mandeville.
What you been using?
Harold.
How?
Intervene.
Intravenously. You've been sticking it in your arm?
Yes, sir.
Where'd you go to medical school?
Streets.
Huh?
The streets.
Yeah, you're missing a lot of veins then, huh? You ever been to treatment? That's yes or no?
Yes, sir.
How many times?
This is my second.
Where'd you go the first time?
Ethel.
When?
Woodlake and Ethel.
When?
2014.
Did you finish it?
No, sir.
Left or I put you out?
My insurance.
Okay. So you stayed long enough to learn to be dangerous.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. This is the second treatment?
Yes, sir.
Okay. First name?
Coleman, Maryland.
Coleman. Where you from?
Off of Louisiana.
And y'all been getting hit hard over there by Mother Nature, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. What you been using?
Beer now, crack.
Crackhead?
Yeah.
Me too. How long you been smoking crack?
I've been smoking since 1990.
Okay. All right. You ever been to treatment?
My first one.
Okay. Why you here?
That was the something.
Okay. You want some help?
Okay.
So that would be a yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Then you in the right place. Because I promise you one thing. Well, maybe two things. You probably ain't gonna like me and you're gonna get some help. First name?
Brian,
Where you from?
Baton Rouge,
Where about?
licensing off Perkins Road,
What you been using?
alcohol,
How many times you been to treatment?
probably a dozen.
You notice I didn't ask you if you've been to treatment.
Right.
I asked you how many times. So how many times?
Probably a dozen or more.
Give me some of the places you've been.
St. Christopher's, AAC, Lark,
Why you keep going to treatment?
oh,
Yeah, because you won't do what we say, right? So why do you go to treatment? I mean, you won't do what none of them say. Well, why do you go?
I don't know. Desperation, I guess.
Huh?
Desperation, I
Nah,
guess.
that's bullshit.
I don't know.
But see, if you were really desperate, you know what you would quit doing?
Same shit over and over.
Yeah, you're programmed. And if you were desperate, you would grasp onto this one with both hands like you're dying. First name.
Scott.
Scott, how old are you? About 9, 10?
32.
What you been using?
Heroin and Xanax.
How are you doing the heroin? When you were about 9 physically, did you ever in your wildest dreams think you'd be sticking needles full of heroin in your arm and end up here?
No, sir.
Yeah. Ain't that crazy? How many times you been to treatment?
3 or 4.
It's 3 or 4.
This is the 4th.
Okay, where'd you go first time?
Went to Victory. And
Second time?
a place in North Carolina.
What's the name of it?
Oh, can't remember exactly.
Did y'all go camping and shit?
No, sir. I went through a wilderness program though before when I was
I
younger.
figured you had.
It was off.
You learned how to make a fire and shit? What about
Pretty rough.
the third time? Where'd you go?
That was the most recent in North Carolina. I'm trying to think of the name of it.
That's all right. First name,
Calvin,
Calvin? Where you from?
Baton Rouge,
Whereabouts?
Mayfair North,
Okay. What you been using?
heroin, snorting heroin.
Did you hear what I asked him? When you were about 10 physically, did you ever dream
Never,
you'd be doing that shit?
never, ever.
Ain't that crazy? You know any Christophs?
Christoph? Yeah, I do.
Okay. You want some help?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You might have fucked around and got to the right place. First name,
Fred,
Fred, where you from?
Baysaw.
Y'all some crazy motherfuckers over there, man. Let me guess, meth,
Heroin,
huh?
heroin.
Heroin? Okay. Fucking alligators are safe as long as y'all doing, heroin. Y'all make some good bait and shit when you're doing heroin. Y'all just fucking, look, y'all hit a vein and then look, y'all go. You ever been to treatment?
No, sir.
Why you here? What happened? Something happened. What happened?
Shit gotta change, bro. I got life is.
Yeah, but you've been needing to change.
Oh yeah, I've been needing to change.
That's
Just,
what I just said.
yeah, I know it's just rock bottom, bro.
But-
As I'm at the bottom.
But something happened.
So my kids happen. They fucking don't like me no more. Fucking hate my fucking guts.
Good.
Oh,
You
no,
do too.
I just got. I know I gotta change. You
No,
know?
I say you hate your guts too.
Yeah.
You got to put shit in your body like you've been doing. So y'all got something in common. Y'all both hate you.
Fuck.
First name,
Bryce,
Bryce, where are you from?
Ascension Parish,
What you been using?
methamphetamine, heroin, and alcohol.
Favorite kind? I put everything on that table and I told you to pick one as much as you could hold. What would you pick?
At 2, methamphetamine and alcohol.
Yeah, but I didn't say two.
Probably methamphetamine.
Watch this shit.
Methamphetamine,
One.
methamphetamine,
And how are you doing?
intravenously mostly.
Okay. You got any dope charges ever?
Got my first one at 34 years old.
Which was what? What was the charge?
2016.
What was the charge?
Promotion and manufacturing of methamphetamine.
No gun charges?
No, sir.
There's sort of two kind of meth heads. when they do a big blast, they run up in the closet, kneel down and try to hide. And the other kind, after they do a big old hit, they run out the back door in the cornfield naked with a gun. Which one would you be?
I don't think neither one of them.
Oh, come on, come on.
I was more of run out in the front yard at whatever was coming at me and fight. It wasn't no gun. I don't like guns because I'm scared I'm gonna use them.
You must have got the bad end on a couple of fights.
Yes, sir. More than a couple.
Look, you run right to the fucking punch. What's your first name?
Donald. Donald.
Donald, where you from?
Baton Rouge.
Whereabouts?
Sherwood.
What you using? IV? How long?
Years.
You ever been to treatment?
Detox.
That's because you don't want no help.
Out of town.
Huh?
Out of town.
You just want to get it off your back. You need to rest up a little bit. Go again. Do you want some help? Look, you can go to 50 of these things, or it could be your first one. It really doesn't matter if you want some help. All right, well, we're gonna see. What's up with you?
Won't do what you tell me.
Huh?
Just won't do what you tell me.
You won't, or you're going to?
I won't.
Are you going to? Huh?
Yes, sir.
I got you on camera. See, because you won't up to this point. Why won't you?
Selfish.
Huh?
Selfish.
Well, keep going. Dishonest as fuck. And you don't care about nobody but yourself. Well, how well is that working for you?
Not too good.
Well, keep doing it. Because see, the alternative to not doing what we say is what you just said. That's the alternative. And one of them is gonna stick. See, and if you don't do something like now, I don't know if you'll ever get this. What's your first name?
Courtney.
Courtney? Where you from, Courtney?
Baton Rouge.
Whereabouts?
Eden Park here.
Okay. What you been using?
Cocaine and alcohol.
Crack?
Coke.
I bet if I let you snort one fucking line and told you there was no more powder, but here's a big old cookie. Yeah, I know. What we're gonna do, we're gonna run through some stuff sort of real quick so we can get some people caught up. When you leaving?
In a couple, tomorrow.
When you leaving?
Thursday.
You? You?
Right.
Yeah, when you leaving? Tomorrow? Then check that anyway. Where you going?
Church.
Where you going?
Next up.
Where you going? What? Where you going? Put a lot of fire under your ass when you get there. Huh? All right. So when you sitting down and you got a hitter in your hand, and you put you a hit on that hitter, and you melt it, and you hit it. Can you put that shit down after that first hit and go on about your business? All right, let's put it to you this way. If you had a cookie about that big around and about that thick with two good hitters, with some fresh burnt charbroil in them, packed just right. With 2 good lighters with the metal clip off so you could adjust that flame about like that. If you take 1 hit off of that cookie, put it in the refrigerator, come back next month, get the same cookie, take another hit, put it back in the refrigerator, come back the next month, pull the same cookie out, take 1 more hit, and do that every month until that cookie was gone. Okay. So once you take a hit, what do you want? You want more?
I'm gonna smoke more. I'm gonna smoke the whole motherfucker, man.
You gonna smoke up that and Peru and anything
Yeah,
else?
whatever the fuck is on the table,
Right.
man.
And the carpet.
No, I don't know about the fuck.
You ain't a carpet picker?
No, I'm not a fucking carpet. No.
But-
I'm gonna smoke with the fuck on the table.
Okay, now how many times have you said, after smoking all of Peru up, I'm done?
I ain't never said I was done.
Really?
No.
Have you ever thought what you doing is killing you and everybody around you?
No,
You've never thought that.
not as long as I'm close. What I'm gonna think about that for?
But you ain't smoking 24/7.
Well, you put it there and then you'll see.
There's no way you smoking 24/7. I could put everything the fucking cartels ever made in front of you, and you couldn't smoke it
No,
24/7.
I know I couldn't.
Yeah.
I know I couldn't.
Now, how many times have you come up for air and thought about what you do?
When it's no more.
Okay. And how many times have you said, this ain't working out too well?
When it ain't no more.
Right. Which is every time you run out.
Right, right.
Right. Which is every time you start, you run out. So people who thought about that, when I'm doing it and working too well, they've thought about quitting. Yeah. And they won't say I've tried to quit because they know they can't. So instead of trying and failing, they just say, I ain't never tried. What's your favorite? Okay. How many times have you smoked all of Peru up, come up for air and said, I'm done?
Every time.
Okay. And every time you pick it back up, huh? How many times have you said, I'm done? And picked it back up? How many times have you said that? You? What about you, Courtney? How many times have you said, I'm done? Couple of thousand? How many times?
Enough, plenty.
How many times?
Every time. Squeeze over.
How many of y'all in here, every time that you hit the first one, whether it's liquid, powder, pill, rock, it don't matter what it is. Physically, something in your body called a physical allergy gets kicked off and it produces a craving for another one. Now, how many times have you hit the first one? Put the pen down. I want you to listen. I want y'all to listen. How many times have you hit the first one? This allergy gets kicked off. The craving starts physically, and your body says, I need another one. And the more you use, the more you actually crave. And the more you crave, the more you actually have to use. And you end up on one of these damn things every time. It's called a well-known spree. And every time you come up for air, that's when you sing the Alcoholics National Anthem. I'll never do that shit again. And you mean it. So what you try to do is live in your own skin sober, which is more fucking miserable than what you do over here. So what you do is you try to live in your own skin sober. And you start a little buildup up here. You start to get irritable, restless, discontented. And this thing starts to work on you then. It's called a mental obsession. And that obsession, when it kicks in, it overrules everything. Your family, your freedom, your dog, your fishing, everything. And the obsession tells you, hey, I need some damn relief, which at this point, you probably did. Now, when you put the first one in because of that, once you dump it in, that leaves for the moment, now it becomes physical. The allergy gets kicked back off, the craving takes over, and now the body is telling the mind what to do, which is go get some more. Now, let's say, tell me your first name again.
Calvin.
Calvin. I'm horrible with names. Let's say Calvin stood up in front of this class right now, and Calvin said, I got 5 X-Lax tablets in my hand. I'm going to eat them, and in an hour, I'm not going to shit. What would you think of Calvin?
Bullshit.
Huh?
Bullshit.
Not for long. Now, if you ate 5 X-Lax tablets in an hour, what would you be doing?
I'll be on the toilet.
What if you couldn't get in there? What if we locked the door?
I'm busting it down.
Huh?
I'm gonna find a bathroom somewhere, or I'm gonna go on the floor.
Okay, so no amount of willpower would keep your asshole from shitting. Now would it?
Not at all.
Now, how many of y'all, when y'all come up off a spree, you think willpower is gonna do it? Willpower, don't work against that. And once you put the first one in, no amount of willpower would keep you from setting that off. Now, let's say you took those chemicals, X-Lax, you dumped them in your body. Would those chemicals start working on your body?
Yeah.
Would your body take over?
Yeah.
And tell your mind what to do?
Yeah.
Which is go. Could your mind overrule your body
No.
and not shit? There's no way. See, once you put the first one in, craving, the body takes over and the body starts to tell the mind what to do, which is go get some more. Now, every time you dump the first one in, it sets off 1 unit of craving. And that physical craving makes you put the second one in. And when you dump the second one in, the craving doubles, which makes you put, and when you dump the third one in, the craving now triples, which makes you put, now the craving quadruples, and so forth and so on. But what sets everything in motion is the first one. And the first one is an act of the mind. The second one on is an act of the body. So if you never put the first one back in, guess what you'll never set off? You'll never end up on one of them and shit'll start to get better for you. Now, we know you're just as bad at doing none as you are at doing just one. See, you can't stay sober. No matter where you go, no matter what you do, no matter what you say. Because that son of a bitch gets you every time, don't it? And once you start, you can't control how much you're going to use because of that. So if you can't stay stopped because of the obsession, and you can't control how much you're going to use once you start because of that, these two things render you powerless. Now, do you have that? Do you have that?
Most definitely.
Then you are,
Powerless.
or what you laughing about? You are too. Now, how many of y'all come in here and y'all are so screwed, you don't even realize how screwed you are? And you walk around here bebopping around like you still got the shit. And you are so powerless, it's pathetic. Now, people who come in here and they see this, you know what they ready to do then? Whatever we tell you. See, when I came into a place like this and they explained this to me, I went, motherfucker. That's what's going on with me. I can't stay stopped. And once I start, it's pretty much over with because of that. Now, how many of you guys ever been in front of a judge, a probation officer, an employer, a wife, kids, and they go, what? Why do you do that? People used to ask me that, man, why do you do that? And I went, fuck, I don't know. Which was the truth. I had no idea why I kept doing what I was doing, then they did. See how many of y'all come in here and y'all have no idea why you do the shit you do? But yet every time you say, I'm done, you try to come up with a solution to a problem you don't fucking understand. And you never get out of the problem you've been stuck in. How long you been smoking rocks?
1990, man.
90 or 91?
90.
I got you beat by about 11 years.
You probably so.
Oh, I did. They didn't even call it crack the first time I smoked the shit.
3 days.
3 days.
3 days.
So I know exactly where you at. Yeah. And it sucks. I know. And how many of y'all it sucks so bad that you think you got the solution to it? And you come up with all kinds of cockamamie shit that never works. And shit keeps getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And people go, man, how you doing? You go, fine. I'm all right. And deep down, your fucking ass is dying. But you laugh about it. You know why you laugh about it? Huh? Keeps you from crying. Because you don't want nobody to know how you actually fucking feel. Sort of sound like you. Now, I'm telling you, you don't have to live like that, not one more second. Unless you choose to. You want some help?
So,
Well, see, if you got this little problem right here, guess what you're gonna have to have? Yeah, because you can't do it on your own. If you could, you had already taken care of it. Now, how many of y'all in here, y'all keep losing shit? You don't gain nothing. And when I say you don't gain nothing, this is what a lot of y'all do. Y'all take about 2 or 3 steps forward, and then you take about 10 back. And then you take 1 or 2 forward, and then you take about 20 back. And all your self-centered ass can see is the couple of steps you've taken forward. You can't see all the shit that's going backwards for you. But if you add it up, are you going forward or backwards? What you doing? What you doing? You? Yeah. Some of y'all right now, if you would have been doing what you were supposed to do, some of y'all should be set for the rest of your fucking life. Now, you want some help? You? Well, this is the help. This is what's going to solve that little problem for you. You're going to have to get all up in the fellowship in Alcoholics Anonymous, and you're going to have to take the damn program of Alcoholics Anonymous. That's the steps. Now, how many of y'all have tried everything so you ain't got to do this shit? See, that's what y'all been doing. every time you come up off a spray and you say, I'm never gonna do this again, you come up with everything under the sun so you don't have to do this shit. Now, everything that you've come up with, has it failed or been successful?
Bit of it's fair.
And failed miserably. You? Now, I'm telling you, because I know this shit works. You know how I know? That's a question. Do you know how I know?
So, I'm listening.
I know because that's what the fuck I do today. You know how I know about this? Because that's what I used to do. Now, how many of y'all sitting over here just as screwed as Hogan's goat, but you don't want any help? See, when I ask y'all if y'all want help, what I mean is, are you ready to get rolling? Because that's the only help that's going to solve that for you. And the truth is, you don't want no more of this, now do you? But you really fucking don't want to do that, now do you? And I'm telling you, you're going to do one or the other, whether you want to or not. Let's say you keep doing this shit. Are you going to do some shit you don't want to do? Lie, cheat, steal, rob, pillage,
All of that.
all the above. If you do this, are you going to do some shit you don't want to do? Yeah. So guess what the fuck you fixing to do?
You don't wanna do.
Some shit you don't want to do. You just got to figure out, do you want these results or these? That's what you got to figure out. And I'm telling you, those results suck. Those will blow your doors off. Now, the fellowship is me going to the meetings, and the steps is me working the first 103 pages of the big book. Now, how many of y'all say you want to do this and this? And you all in it going to meetings, but when it comes to following the first 103 pages of the book, you won't do nothing it says the way it says. You want to do shit the way you says. Now, if somebody like me gets involved here and I do what the big book says, what I'm going to tap into is some. Now, I want you to take a look at this before we erase it. This program boils down to two things: powerless and if you hear, you couldn't possibly be here. And if you hear, okay, you in the wrong fucking building. Because hopefully what you came here for is to tap into some of that. Because without that, you're going to stay screwed. Now, this program boils down to two things. It boils down to being powerless. It boils down to being powerless. And what we tell you is there is a power. Now, if you hear and you want to get here, something's blocking you. Now, this power that we're talking about, I promise you, you've been around the power all your life. I promise you, you've been around it all your life. What you've never done is tap into it. Now, that's a power source right there. If I took a vacuum cleaner and I set it around that power source, I didn't plug the cord in, I just set it around there, and I hit the switch, would it work?
No.
Now, if I took the cord and I took it and I jammed it in there and hit that cord, will it work? Now, how many of y'all been around the power all your life, but you don't work how you're supposed to? See, what we're trying to do is take your cord and tap it into the power. Now, step one, they give you the facts about being powerless, the obsession and the allergy. In step two, they tell you there is the fellowship and the steps. In step three, you got to make a decision. Now, if you hear and you want to get here, something's blocking you. And what's blocking you is self. How many of y'all are constantly doing what you want, when you want, and how you want, and you don't give a fuck about nobody but your damn self? You got a family? What you got?
I got a beautiful son, father,
How old's your son?
6.
Okay, what you got?
Got a boy, my son. I got a lot of real good family down here.
I have no doubt they good to put up with you. They gotta be. What you got?
Daughters.
What you got?
Fiance was on the verge of losing her.
Well, if she's your fiance, she ain't your family. Marry her ass. What you got?
I had a wife, 2 daughters, and a son.
How old are they? Your daughters and the son.
16, 14, and I got a 2-year-old son.
What you got? How old?
38,
What else?
grandkids,
How many?
5.
What you got?
Mom and dad,
What you got?
wife, 13 children.
Damn, you got a basketball team and more. They can play fucking full court. What you got? Yeah.
Got a wife, 2 kids.
How old are the kids?
My son's about to be 5, and my daughter just turned 2 yesterday.
What you got?
Girl and a boy,
How old?
10 and 15.
That family that you told me about. You love them? Huh? You? You? That would require an answer.
Yes, sir.
You?
I would say I do, my action proves otherwise.
Say that again?
I would say that I do, but my action proves otherwise.
Right. See, y'all come in here and y'all say a bunch of shit out your mouth. Your mouth says you love them, right? What do your actions say? You do or you don't? Huh?
No.
Okay. What's your mouth say?
My mouth lies.
Your mouth says you do, and your actions?
Said don't.
Okay. Now, down there in Bayou Sorrel, is that what you told me?
Yes, sir.
When somebody says one thing out their mouth, and they turn around and do the complete opposite, what they call that down there?
Liar.
What they call that over there in North Mayfair?
Oh, that's a faker. You fake.
Full of? Yeah, and that's what you are. And that's why you sitting where you sit, because you're fucking full of
Damn.
shit. But you blame everything on
Everybody.
dope. We can get any jackass off of dope. That's the easy part. We get you off of dope, guess what we still got?
Most likely.
A dishonest, inconsiderate, selfish person.
Yes, sir.
And if you stay that way, guess what you're gonna get back on?
If I'm lucky, no.
Yeah. You a true believer in God?
Yeah.
Okay. You? You?
Yeah.
You? 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 You?
Yes.
That's what y'all say out y'all mouth. What your actions say you are, you're not. What your actions say?
I'm not.
Yours? Yours? See, there you go again. You say shit out your mouth and you turn around and do the complete opposite. You are walking, talking contradiction of your own self. And the crazy shit is, you already know you're full of shit. I ain't got to tell you. You already know. Seeing anybody that tries to tell you up to this point, you do one of two things. You just laugh it off. Hurry up, or you get mad as a motherfucker. No, you can go when he gets back. Now, how many of y'all people have told y'all numerous times, man, you so full of shit, it's pathetic. They may not tell you exactly those words, but this is how you can determine if that's what they think about you. Do you run people off or do you attract them? What you do? You? You?
Run them off.
That's because you're full of shit. Look, if you come in here and your only goal is to get sober, we have accomplished that for you. Did you use today? Did you? Did you? So you're sober? That's all you want? Time to go. But I promise you, you won't be sober very long. Now, do you want to change? So you won't find it necessary to have to use again. Look, that's the name of the game. And if you ain't ready to change, this shit ain't gonna work. How many of these you done set food?
Me, myself.
No. Wow. And every time you walk out, are you sober? And every time you walk out sober, you get loaded. Because you won't do nothing to change. Right? Now, every time you get out, do you go to a couple of them fucking meetings? But do you do anything out the book and stepwise?
Not enough.
Yeah. What about you? See, look, how many of y'all, some of y'all been in here for a couple of weeks, y'all still got that shit in your mind, I'm sober. I'm sober. Well, what the fuck is that? You can get sober all by your lonesome. Every time you pass out at night, guess what the fuck you get? Sober. So you don't need help getting sober. Now, when your eyes fucking pop open, what's this thing start telling you to do? Go get one. Now, every time you have quit, which has been thousands of times, every time you quit, what do you eventually do every time? Start. So I would say you don't have a quitting problem. I would say you have a starting problem. Now, right now, are you quit? Huh? If something don't start changing with you, it's a fact. You've proven it over and over. You're going to start again. Now, what we're talking about today is what really needs to take place for you to change. Now, how many of y'all in here know right from wrong? I promise you, you've been knowing that shit as far back as you could possibly remember. Y'all open y'all's big books to page 55. I want you to start reading for me. In the middle of page 55, the first paragraph down. Hold on a minute. Everybody there?
Yes, sir.
Des, you there? Fucking miracle. Judge, read it loud. Actually, hold on a minute. Page 55. Judge, read it loud.
Actually, we're fooling ourselves.
Imagine that.
For deep down in every man, woman, and child is the fundamental idea of God.
Now, it says deep down in every man, woman, and child is the fundamental idea of God. Now, how many of y'all, every time you get ready to do something wrong, which is quite often, you hear a little voice say, hey, dumbass, don't do that. You hear that? Huh?
Repeat, I'm sorry.
Let's say you get ready to do something and you know it's wrong. Do you hear a little voice say, hey man, you better not do that?
Maybe about a quarter or a half.
I guarantee you hear it every time. I'll put it to you this way. If you went to rob a bank and they had 5 police cars in the parking lot, would you hear a little voice say, man, you better not fucking rob that bank today?
Oh, that makes sense.
10 times out of 10, you would hear that.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now, how many of y'all, every time you do something and you know it's wrong, you hear that little voice say, hey man, don't do that. But if it's something that you really want to do, how many of y'all block that voice out and do what you want to do? Now, when you do what you want to do, knowing it's wrong, how many of y'all, the consequences start hitting? And when they start hitting, that little voice comes back louder a second time, and it says, dumbass, I told you not to do that. You hear that? You hear it?
No.
Yeah, you?
All the time.
Now, how many of y'all call that your conscience? I'll prove to you it's not. I'll prove to you it's not. Every time you hear that voice tell you, hey man, you better not do that, has it always been right?
No,
The fuck it ain't.
Always you're right.
Every time. Huh?
Yep.
So being that it's right every single time, we know there's no way then that could be your damn conscience. Because there's only one entity in this universe that's always right 100% of the time. And that is the fundamental idea of God. That's that voice that tells you right from wrong. Now, how many of y'all always are blocking that voice out and you keep doing what self wants to do? Now, when you hear that voice, check this out. But what blocks you from it? You always doing what you want to do. Now, if we can get what you want to do out the way, guess what ain't no fucking biggie then? Right and wrong. See, normal people, my father, he's fixing to be 90 years old. And as far back as I can remember, he always did what was right. He'd go to work. He'd take care of his family. He spent his money right. He did the right thing. And right and wrong wasn't no biggies for him. Because he wasn't always worried about. Now, us alcoholics, I don't know what it is about us, but untreated, we got 3 things. See, normal people, they got fucking 2. What's right and what's wrong. And they normally do what's right. Us alcoholics left untreated, we got 3 things. We got what's right, what's wrong, and the biggie, what the hell I want to do. And what I want to do always seems to win out. Now, if I can get what I want to do out the way, see, self out the way, guess what I tap into? And I can do what's right. Now, step 1 tells you this. Step 2 tells you about this. And in step 3, you making a decision to get this out the fucking way. And the way I'm going to get that out of the way is steps 4 through 9. And once it's out the way I keep it out the way on a daily basis is 10, 11, and 12. Now, every time you do what you think is best for you, does it turn out to be a fucking total disaster? Every time. So I don't know if I want to do what I want to do. Because I always end up in institutions. And by the way, this is the Taj Mahal of institutions. How many of you guys keep ending up places you don't want to be? With people you don't want to be with. And you have to fucking stay longer than you want to stay. Boy, that's fun, huh? That's so much fun, you got to dump something in you to change the way you feel. Now, I want you to get this sheet in front of you. Look, I'm telling you right now, if you don't get a grip on this right here, guess what you'll never be able to do thoroughly and honestly? The 4-step. And if you will not do a 4-step, you cannot do 5, 6, 7, 8R, and your decision is going to remain a decision. You'll never get self out the way. You'll never tap into the power, and you will stay. Now, how many of y'all, when y'all come in here, y'all are thinking, what the fuck does this have to do with me doing dope? This is what it has to do with it. Everything. I can remember sitting in treatment, and the only thing I wanted was not to smoke rocks and drink whiskey anymore. And they told me the only way that was going to happen is if I got a grip on this and started working on changing. Because if I stayed the same, I didn't have a snowball's chance in hell of staying sober. So I said, well, let's get going. Tell me about this. Now, every human being that's ever been placed on the face of this earth, we're all made exactly the same. Nobody is better than, and nobody is worse than. We're all made the same. Now, every human being is made up of 3 basic instincts. We all have a social instinct, we all have a security instinct, and we all have a sex instinct. Now, the easiest way to remember is when Michael starts drawing social security, he'll have no more sex. I hope that's a joke, because I'm nearing social security age. Now, 3 basic instincts that make up self: the social instinct, the security instinct, and the sex instinct. And every human being is made up exactly the same. Now, I want you to read the first one under the social instinct, and I want everybody following along. Go.
Companionship, wanting to belong or to be accepted.
Now, is there anything wrong with that?
No.
It's perfectly necessary, surely God-given, therefore it is right. Read the next one. Prestige, read it.
Prestige, the power of command. Demonstrate admiration.
Admiration.
Status.
Okay, is there anything wrong with having some prestige? You just got it in the wrong shit. Read the next one.
Self-esteem, what we think of ourselves, high or low.
Anything wrong with having some good, positive self-esteem? Michael, read the next one.
Pride, an unjustified opinion of oneself, either positive self-love or negative self-hate.
Now, is there anything wrong with some good, healthy pride?
No.
Y'all got pride, you just got it in the wrong shit. the last one. Read it.
Personal relationships or relationships with other human beings and the world around us.
Now, how many of y'all in these personal relationships, you don't have relationships, you hold people hostage? Because you always want them to do what you want to do, or you go to the extreme and depend on them way too much. Now, under the last one, it's called ambition. Ambition are your plans for the future. Every one of y'all sitting in here has a social plan for their future. The next one's security. Read the first one underneath security.
Material, wanting money, building, property, clothing, etc., in order to be secure in the future.
Is there anything wrong with that? No. It is if you take it from other people or don't want to work for it. See, how many of y'all want nice shit, but you don't want to do nothing to earn it? You want it to just fall in your lap. It don't work that way. Now, the next one, it says emotional security. Read it. You ain't got your glasses, read it.
Emotional, based upon our needs for another person or person. Some tend to dominate, some are overly dependent on others.
Now, how many of y'all in here, y'all either depend on somebody too much or you try to dominate them? You have never ever tried to form a true partnership with another human being because you depend on them too much or you try to control them. So they either flee, which most of them do, or you do it for so long, they start to die off. Now, how many of y'all people who are close to you are fleeing like you got the plague, or they're dying off because you've been doing it for so fucking long? Now, under the sex instinct, read the first one.
Natural, in accordance with human nature, normal.
Nothing wrong with that. Read the next one. No, read the next one.
Desire, too long for, wish for, to ask for.
And the last one,
Reproduction.
reproduction. And then at the bottom is God, ambition. Now, hey, what are you doing? All right, hurry up. Now, look up here. If I'm going to do the fourth step, see, it's going to allow me to do six, 7, 8, and 9. So this is very, very crucial. If you don't get a grip on this, guess what you can't fill out thoroughly and honestly? Now, you guys that have been here for a little while, you're not going to hear this again before it's time for you to do your, you new guys, y'all going to hear this again before it's time for you to do your, so today, listen. So when we roll back around on it, you won't be going, what? See, some of you guys back there, you should be picking up on this now. Right? Right. Hurry up. Now, human beings, that would be you and me. We are the only creatures on the face of this earth that God gave these instincts to, plus this. We're the only creatures who get to make choices and decisions when it comes to our instincts. And the reason God gave humans that ability is because he loved us creatures, humans, more than any other creature on the face of this earth. And he wanted us humans to be the dominant species over the other creatures. So what he gave us was a gift. And that gift is Now, how many of y'all have taken this gift God has given you and run it in the fucking ground? They call it self-will run.
Right.
You do what you want, when you want, and how you want. And you don't care about nobody but your damn self. But out your mouth, you say, I love my family. I'm a true believer in God. And you believe all that fucking nonsense. Now, newsflash. People who love their families by their actions and who are true believers in God by their actions don't end up in here. Now, can somebody who was full of shit change?
Yes.
And I'm living proof of that. See, all them people, hurry up, all those people that were fleeing from me have now returned. And the ones who are passing now are passing with this assurance. They ain't got to worry about me no more. Now, how many of y'all have heard about self and self-will before? How many of y'all come in here? If somebody would have asked me when I first sat down my first day in treatment, hey, what makes up self? I would have went, fuck, I don't know. I knew more about cars, computers, iPods, stereo systems, football than I knew about my own damn self. Now, other creatures, dogs, cats, lions, tigers, bears, they got the same instincts I got, but they don't have. You know who directs their instincts? God's will. That's why you've never turned on the TV or picked up a newspaper before. And at the bottom of the TV, it says breaking news. 100,000 elephants have went to war with 100,000 hippopotamus. You ever heard of that? Yeah. How many of y'all have never heard that before? You never will. You know why you'll never hear that? Because God directs there. Now, have you ever heard of 100,000 men going to war with another 100,000? You know why? And people want to blame that shit on God. How many of y'all have ever seen geese? Y'all been out to Ethel? Y'all seen them geese? They eat and shit fucking everywhere. They are some dumbass animals. All they do is eat and shit. Don't like some of y'all. Now, geese are some dumb animals. But just about every winter, guess what they do? They fly about 6,000 miles south, stay for a couple of months, and fly back. Now, if you ever watch them, wake up for me. Wake up. If you ever watch them fly, they fly in a V. When the lead goose gets tired, it peels to the back of the V, and another one steps right in its place. They don't fucking land and go, okay, who's going to take over? They do it just like that because God directs their instinct. Now, let's say all of us, God forbid, we huddled up at the door out there and we were going to walk to Baton Rouge. Half of y'all would go, we're going to go right. A quarter of y'all would say, we're going to go left. And the rest of you geniuses would go, we're going to go straight. This would kick in and ruin everything. Now, how come some intelligent ass people can't walk to Baton Rouge without arguing? But some dumb fucking animals can fly 6,000 miles, stay a couple months and fly back. How come that is? Because God directs there. Now, check this out. Let's just say you could let go of this and let God direct yours. Just think what you could do. See how many of y'all got y'all's call so entrenched in this, and you know everything. And nobody can fucking tell you nothing, because you know everything. You so fucking brilliant. You have landed at Woodlake, front row spot. Now, how many of y'all, when y'all were in kindergarten, physically, stood up in front of the class and said, hey, teach, when I grow up, I want to be a patient at Woodlake? Did you say that? Did you?
Yeah.
Well, guess what you are?
Patient at Woodlake.
So I would tell you what you doing. Now, if you would have said, I did tell the class when I was in kindergarten, I wanted to be a patient at Woodlake. You know what I tell you? No, I'd say, don't change a fucking thing. It's working. But you didn't say that, did you? How many of y'all sitting in here, y'all had some dreams, some aspirations of what you wanted to do with your life? Now, I'm going to ask a couple of y'all. Now, if you like fucking 4'9", don't tell me when you grew up you wanted to be the center for the Los Angeles Lakers. Tell me something plausible, because everybody in here had a dream, had an aspiration of what they wanted to do and become. What'd you want to do?
Fireman.
A fireman? What'd you want to do?
A shortstop.
Shortstop? What'd you want to do?
Just be successful.
What'd you want to do?
I wanted to play basketball.
Now, let's just say for shits and giggles, every time you heard that voice say, hey man, don't do that. Let's say you'd have listened to it every time. What are the chances you'd be a successful fireman right now? No. Listen to what I asked you. Let's say from the time you started dreaming about being a fireman, right? Every time you heard that little voice say, hey man, don't do that. Let's say you'd have listened to it every time. What are the chances you'd be a successful fireman? Damn good. Would have had an opportunity to at least have a workout.
Right, yes, sir.
Successful as fuck. You know who put that in your mind? To be a fireman? Huh? Yeah. That's why every time you got ready to stray from the path, he said, hey man, don't do that. Because he wanted you to do that. And every time he said, don't do that, you strayed from the path. But who you blame? The fuck. I guarantee when you on your pity potty, you go, God, why does thy put me through this? Huh? And he's going, well, goddamn. I tried to lead you. You just won't. Because you know everything about everything. And nobody can tell you nothing. You know, that 90-year-old father of mine, just in great shape, some better than some of y'all. I see y'all walk around sometimes, I go, God damn. 90 years old, still can hop on a tractor and ride it all day. We'll be sitting down sometimes, and some of my past escapades will come up, and we'll laugh about it a little bit now, and he'll go, yeah, that's when you was a genius. And nobody could tell you nothing. Because you knew everything. You know, it's like the longer I've been sober and in this program, the fucking smarter he gets. Because everything that he tried to tell me was just do the next thing right. That's all he ever tried to tell me. Now, how many of y'all have been sort of had some guidance like that? Maybe not by a daddy, maybe by an uncle or a teacher or somebody who took an interest in you. But regardless, if you didn't, you already knew right from now, didn't you? Now, how many of y'all have ever heard of Adam and Eve? Huh? I'm going to give you the drunk version of Adam and Eve. When God created everything, they say it took him about 7 days. He fucking worked quick. And God created the garden. And he put all these creatures in there. Best it's fucking ever been. So God said, you know what? I'm going to make something in my image. So he made man. He said, I'm going to give man some companionship. So he made woman. They say that's when the fucking problem started. Now, Adam and Eve, they're the only creatures in the garden. And they fit in with all the other, they're the only humans in the garden. So they fit in with all the other creatures. And they let God direct them. It's the best it's ever been. There was no crime, no pollution, no nothing. Now, God told Adam and Eve, y'all got the run of the place. Just don't eat the damn apple. Whatever you do, just don't eat the goddamn apple. Now, everything's rocking along, going great. This little snake comes slithering by, goes up to Eve and says, hey, Eve, y'all ain't got to do like us other creatures. Y'all got it. Y'all can do what y'all want. Matter of fact, you can go eat the apple. Eve says, yeah, but God said we couldn't. Little snake said, Eve, I just told you. Y'all ain't got to do like us. Y'all got self-will. So she runs and tells Adam. She says, Adam, we can eat the apple. Adam said, yeah, God said we could. Eve said, yeah, but we got self-will. So what did they do? They went and ate the damn apple. Now, God comes cruising along. He sees the apple missing. He goes, Adam, who ate the damn apple? He was shocked. Because it's the first time man ever exerted. Now, what happened to him? They got banned from the garden. But before he banned them, he said, look, if you ever want to get this back to me, I'll take you back with open arms. He made the same deal with not us. You ain't got a fucking rat in your pocket. You. See, if you ever want to give this back, he's going to take you back with. But if you don't, and you want to keep misusing it, guess what he's going to continue to drop on your ass? Consequences. That's what's been dropped on you up to this point. Because he's been trying to, hurry up, wake you up and bring you back home. You just won't listen. Now, how many of y'all have been getting consequence after consequence after consequence dropped on your ass? And you have to use just to deal with that shit. Yeah. Now, I know, I don't believe, I know when a person like me quits doing what they want to do and really tries to do the right thing, the consequences, stop. And the blessings start. Now, when somebody like me quits getting all those horrible consequences and I start to get some blessings, I go, oh, this is pretty nice. I like this. So I don't have to think about putting something in me to change the way I feel, because I feel pretty damn good. How many of y'all have tried this before? Right when you get out, you're actually halfway trying. And some good little things happen to you. And then all of a sudden, shit's happening so good, you want to take this shit back. Because now I know what the fuck to do. Which is the complete opposite. Now you sure don't know what to do. Now, how does somebody like me get these out of my hands? How do I keep them out of my hands? I don't want these back ever, never again, because I make a mess out of shit. I know none of y'all do that. Now, stay with me. This is really going to fuck you up. Not only do I have these instincts, you do. You do. My mother has them. My father has them. My children have them. My wife has them. Everybody has them. So if I can start understanding what makes me tick, I can start to understand what makes you tick. You tick. You tick. So if I can understand what makes people tick, I can get along better with people. And I need people. Because where is God? Every man, woman, and child. How many of y'all are running people off? Now, when I came into this program, I've got identical twins. They're grown now. They all have their own family. Plus, I also have a 16-month-old. Yeah, you motherfucker give me a run for my money. Now, those identical twins of mine, when I came into this program, they were about 11. What I did to them, if he would have did it to them, one of us would not be here right now. Because I'd have killed him or I would have been killed, one of the two. Now, I'm running the streets of North Baton Rouge. Yeah, I know where the park's at. You had to cut through that canal. You know what it is, Now, I'm running the streets of North Baton Rouge like a chicken with my head cut off. I'm doing what I want, when I want, and how I want. And I don't care about nobody but. Now, I know none of y'all in here are like that. Now, what do you think I did to my daughter's companionship? Do you think I built that up and instilled that in them like a father should, or destroyed it? What are you doing to your kids' companionship? Yeah. But you love them, right? Well, that's what you say. What do you think I did to their prestige? I destroyed that in them. Now, what do you think I would do to him if he did that to him? See, how many of y'all in here, if somebody else treats your family the way you've been treating them, it'd be a big ordeal, huh? But when you do it, you justify, you rationalize a bunch of fucking nonsense. And what your families wished is that it was somebody else instead of you. What do you think you do to your kids' self-esteem?
Down.
Yeah, but you love them, right? I'd hate to see if you hated them, what you'd do to them. How many of y'all are actually starting to go, fuck? This is some fucking shit here. I can remember when this was explained to me, I went, son of a bitch. And I thought it was cracking Crown Royal. How many of y'all? The only thing you ever try to change is the drinking and the drugging. And every time, what do you keep doing? Drinking and drugging. If you would ever try to work on you, you might not want to. Drink and drug. What do you think I did to their pride? Their personal relationships. Look, my mother and father, if I was them, I would never speak to me again for what I did to them. When my father retired, he started rebuilding Model A's. If you don't know what a Model A is, it's an old fucking car. Now, he and my mother joined this Model A club, and they start going around to all these car shows. And all them little old biddies my mama was meeting, they all got to be real close. So guess who they got to hear about? You. So every time they would go somewhere, them old biddies would ask my mama, how's Kevin doing? So she either had to lie or tell the truth. What you think she did?
Oh, the truth.
No, she didn't tell the truth. She didn't lie either. You know what she did? She quit going. Yeah. And how many of y'all out y'all's mouth go, I ain't hate nobody but myself? That is the biggest fraud you could ever say out of your mouth. Because everybody you come into contact with who has instinct, you step on them one way, shape, form, or the other. Now, how many of y'all, people's instincts, you just maul them. You just step all over them. And when they retaliate on you, this is what you say. I don't know why they doing that to me. I didn't do anything. I want y'all to turn y'all's big books to page 64. 64. What'd I say? 62. Start reading for me. I want you to start reading the first paragraph down. I want you to read it loud and clear. And I want everybody following along. Page 62, the first paragraph down. Go.
Selfishness and self-centeredness.
It don't say selfish and. How'd you get and out of something that ain't even in there? Listen to me. I want y'all to listen to this. When you read out the big book, if you add words to it, or you take words out, you change the whole aspect of the meaning. So when I ask you to read out the book, read it loud, read it exactly like it said. Go.
Selfish, self-centeredness. That we think is the root of our trouble.
Now, the ones of us who have come in here and taken the steps, and our head has come out of our butthole. Because that's where yours is at right now. This is what we know. Crack, Crown Royal never was the root of my trouble. Never.
You was.
It was always my selfish, self-centered behavior. Now, how many of y'all, when y'all come in here, this is how y'all read it. Heroin, oxy, roxy, and crack, I think, is the root of my trouble. So therefore, the only thing you try to change is what? The using part. And what do you keep doing? Using. Now, it says selfishness, self-centeredness. Go.
Driven by 100 forms of fear, self-delusion, self-seeking, and and self-pity. Step on the toes of our fellows and they retaliate.
Look up here. How many of y'all, when it comes to the instincts, y'all fear you're not gonna get what you want? How many of y'all, when it comes to the instincts, you fear you're gonna lose something you already got? But the biggest fear that most of y'all have is people are gonna figure you out for the fake ass person that you really are. Now, after he says driven by fear, the next one is self-delusion. How many of y'all will do some shit trying to satisfy these things right here, and you know it's wrong? But you will make yourself believe the shit you just did is okay. Now, when you're driven by fear and self-delusion, what's the next one say? Flip that word around. Seeking self. What makes up self? How many of y'all, you live your life trying to satisfy your instincts and fuck everybody else's? How well is that working for you? Keep reading. Fear, self-delusion. What's the next one? Now, how many of y'all, when y'all screw shit up wrong and the consequences are hitting, your bottom lip pokes out like everybody could ride home on it? It's called self-pity. Now, when you're driven by fear, self-delusion, self-seeking, and self-pity, what does that book say you do? So when you step on people's toes, you're stepping on air, and they're going to every time. Now, how many of y'all have made a mess out of this shit? And it gets so bad, you have to go, boom, to get some relief. I hear that shit's like bunk nowadays. Fuck up a fight. But how many of y'all have made a mess out of shit? Now check this out. Why have you made a mess out of shit? How many of y'all, every time you make a mess out of shit because of self-will, your solution is to correct self-will with self-will? It's Stevie Wonder could fucking see that ain't gonna work. But how many of y'all, that's always your solution? Let me pour some more self-will on it. And it's like taking a cup of gas and throwing it on a fire. Shit explodes even. There's only one thing that will correct self-will. That's it. Now, how many of y'all, sort of like me, before I come in here, I thought if you relied on this, you were actually somewhat weak or cowardly. Now, I want you to check this out. How many of y'all rely and depend on electricity? A power greater than you. Now, by relying on electricity, a power greater than you, does it actually make you more independent?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, by me relying on electricity, it actually makes me more independent. So when I rely on this, it actually makes me more independent. I can do shit I normally couldn't do, like be a father, a son, a husband, an uncle, and as I think, a good employee. Now, how many of y'all are so limited because you rely on self? You so ass backwards, it's pathetic. You know, when I came in here and I started to see things different, I went, God damn, how blind you have been. And I go, how did I ever think that shit was gonna work? And when I was up in it, I thought I was the smartest son of a bitch on the face of the earth. If you ever start to see it, you're gonna go, oh God, I can't believe I did that shit. Now, since we had a lot to cover today, as you probably noticed, we didn't get into the 4-step much. Tomorrow, when y'all come in here, bring this and that 4-step sheet you got. Because we're going to get into it tomorrow. Hold on. We're going to show you how to fill out a 4-step sheet. And we're going to actually do a couple in here. We're going to fill a couple out, and we're going to actually show you how a 5th step goes. Now, how many of y'all sitting in here right now, you were listening to this, you went, man, that's actually some pretty cool shit.
Yes, sir.
I can remember sitting in, when I first heard this, and my first thing comes to my mind is, I wish they would have taught me this shit in 8th grade instead of fucking woodworking class.
Right.
Now, how many of y'all think this is the worst thing that could ever happen to you coming here? Do you know not many people, normal or alcoholic, get this? Do y'all know that? Because not every treatment center does this. So what I thought was the worst thing that ever happened to me actually turned out to be the best thing ever happened to me. So you know what that tells me? Huh?
I don't know what's right for me.
Say that again?
I don't know what's right.
That's right. See, what that told me was, I don't know what the fuck's good for me. How many of y'all are constantly doing what you want, when you want, and how you want, and you won't listen to nobody? Well, when shit is the fan, what you want to do? What you want to do then? Yeah. Ain't that crazy? See, I'd rather you ask for help before you use. See, how many of y'all make a mess out of shit and then ask for help? Instead of going, before you make a mess out of shit, you go, hey, bro, I need a little help. But y'all make messes out of shit and then ask me for help, and it's going, damn. But see, God got a lot of people to take care of. Not just you. Comments? Questions?
You ever have the urge to fuck around? Like, or do you ever think about it?
Never.
No.
Never. 20 years. Never. Now, do I think about drugs and alcohol? Yeah, every day. But I don't think about using them. I think about what my life would be like if I never would have got off the shit. That's what I think about. But I'd never think about using. And you know that obsession? I had it for about 27 years and I never thought nothing would get it out of my head. You want some help? Okay. You starting to maybe see you might have just struck the mother lode. Y'all get ready for lunch. Y'all thank God